Okay, today's guest on Dad's World is my lifelong homie, Brett Boudreaux. Brett and I met when we were just 7 years old, playing baseball for the Legion Park Pinto Braves. And somehow, through all the twists and turns of life, that friendship has remained rock solid to this day. Brett's story is one of grit, heart, and overcoming adversity from a young age. This conversation was a deep dive into the life of the scrappy kid I grew up with, who's grown up to become a dedicated dad and husband, a Little League coach, a distinguished firefighter, and someone I deeply admire. So, like all Dad's World conversations, if you gain something out of this, be sure to drop a like, a comment, or subscribe to hear more stories from Calico Sonder. With that being said, sit back, relax, and enjoy this episode of Dad's World featuring my good friend, Brett Boudreaux. All right, Brett Boudreaux, my oldest friend. Welcome to Dad's World.
Awesome, man. I appreciate you having me, dude.
Yeah, of course. We talked about this before we got started, how I was going to intro you on this. Brett and I grew up in the 90s, and we'll paint a picture of that as we go along. But to start out, tell me about the environment that you grew up in.
Okay. So I was born in 87 to a mother who had literally just turned 16. Okay. So my family moved from Louisiana to Marietta, Georgia, and I was born here. And I was raised in a family that consisted of my mom, my uncle, my aunt, and my grandparents. Long story short, my grandparents pretty much raised me from the time of birth till, I was ready to go off on my own.
Till today.
And they still do sometimes. And my mom, she was young. I always knew, since I can remember, that I understood that. Like, hey, she had me when she was a teenager. So I never had high expectations of her being Mother of the Year. That never crossed my radar. And it almost felt like a big sister. That makes sense.
Yeah.
And I always looked at my grandparents. I knew they were my grandparents, but they were like my parents to me. And they were both, they were young grandparents. They were in their 30s. They were my age, our age, when I was born. Younger.
Wait. How old was your granddad when you were born?
He was in his mid-30s.
Yeah.
I want to say 33.
Wow.
Yeah. So
Holy
they raised
cow.
3 kids of their own, in which were still teenagers, who just moved from everything they knew in Morgan City, Louisiana, because the jobs were tanking there.
Yeah.
And my grandpa
That's what took him from Louisiana.
He didn't know what he was going to do.
Wow.
So
so what did your granddad do growing up? Or what did he do for work?
He's done all kind of things, man. He's done from working in the roofing industry, which is kind of was his main thing. He was a salesman. He worked for Disney, selling Disney products. When I was a kid, he'd come home from a trip and I'd get all these Disney products, like the good stuff. It was awesome, man. Yeah, he hopped around. He sold payphones. Ultimately, he ended up in the roofing and siding business, and
Gotcha.
that was his thing. He's really good at it.
And then your grandmother, what was her job? What was her career?
So that was one thing. She got offered a job in Georgia, the main reason they moved, and she worked for Voith Soldier, which is a German paper company.
Okay.
And she worked there for a very long time and ultimately retired.
Yeah, I remember when she retired, and I don't remember the year specifically.
2009.
Okay, so we were a little bit older at that. I just remember that was kind of a big deal, her retirement.
Yes. Man, it's weird because I remember her coming home from work. I saw the stress, and my grandpa was like, it's time for you to throw it. You're done. Let's just enjoy the rest of your life. He kept working in roofing and siding until he ultimately retired. And now they're retired, living in a little 55 and up community. And
dream.
Living the dream, I guess, man.
After raising their grandboy.
Yeah, I owe a lot to my grandparents, man. They to this day, like now, I just got off the phone. Hey, can you pick my son up from school? My youngest son, Jax. And they're always, it's a blessing to have them.
You're like, look, I have a very important podcast I'm a part of. Right?
Yeah. And my grandpa's like, get the out of here.
Nathan Albert.
Yeah, Nathan Albert.
For some reason, Brett's granddad called me Nathan Albert my entire childhood. It's not my middle name, but that's what he called it. How you doing, Nathan Albert?
Fucking bizarre, man.
So you grew up in a core family, but with more of a different associations with different people that really did kind of collect towards a core unit. You got into sports at what age?
So I got into baseball early, not playing Little League, but just at home, watching it with my grandpa, watching the Braves, getting my first glove and bat. My grandpa actually taught me how to throw, how to hit. We go to the front yard. And it was until I was 7, about to turn 8, when my mom started dating a guy named Joe McKenzie, who you're very familiar with. So is your dad. And he was like, "Hey, boy, you want to play some street hockey?" And I was
That's
like,
right. You played hockey.
Yeah. I loved rollerblading at the time. And I was like, "Yeah, dude, I want to play some street hockey." So they signed me up at a league. And there was I guess they didn't have a big outcome for players. So they ended up putting me on a team with like 13-year-old kids, and they were just beating my ass, dude. But it was so much fun. I remember it was so much fun, but I was like, I never even thought about Little League. And he's like, "Hey, boy, you want to go play some baseball at Sweetwater?"
Pretty good Joe McKenzie you got going on.
Yeah, you want to go play
boy?
some baseball at Sweetwater Valley? And I was like, yeah, let's do it, man.
That's what you said at 7 years old.
And that's what...
I
wouldn't be here if it wasn't for that, man.
Into a baseball practice for the Braves, for the Sweetwater Valley Association.
Pinto Braves, man.
The Pinto Braves, where Nathan Bach played first base and Jay Howard Bach was our coach, turning the world upside down out there in Austell, Georgia.
That started a childhood addiction that I will always remember. I absolutely loved playing baseball, dude. That's that was our life.
The thrill, man. You have ones of people in the stands. Just some of those plays, like you out playing shortstop, me at first base. Let's be real. 9 times out of 10, we're not making the play. But there were probably 3 or 4 that stick out in my mind of like 7, 8 years old. You're just like, that was the greatest play I've ever seen in my life.
Hell yeah.
How fast are you now? Back in the day, he was so fast. He was the quickest guy I've ever seen on a baseball field. You still quick today?
No, man. I've abused my body so hard with working out, my job, and I think I could still run pretty fast.
Yeah.
But the last time it was me and my crew. We were at the fire station. Like, hey, let's go race.
Yeah.
Let's see who's fast. And he's like, I'll beat your ass. I'm like, all right, motherfucker. So we had done like a 200-meter sprint or whatever it's called, and we had done it several times. I was like, I got one more in me, and my hamstring just.
Oh.
And it was some of the worst pain I've ever been in my life. And I was like, yeah, I'm not doing that anymore.
Welcome to adulthood.
Now I love trail running.
Oh, yeah?
Mountain biking is probably my biggest hobby. You know, I love doing that kind of stuff. But
back then it was all just getting around those bases as quick as possible.
It was, man. Y'all used to call me Speedy Gonzalez, man.
That's right. I was about to say, Speedy Gonzalez over here. We tracked this down. We played 3 seasons together all throughout Little League. Those formative years with Dad as our coach. The legend of Jay Howard.
Old coach, man.
There he is. Let's give it up for Jay Howard. Jay Howard's behind the camera today, folks. There he is.
Coach to this day.
He's our coach. There he is. There he is. Whoa, where you go there? You said you were raised by your grandparents.
Yes.
Never knew your dad?
No.
As far as now being a dad, and we'll go into that later, but as far as being a dad now, how much do you think about the father figures of your youth and how they shaped you into who you are now?
People always ask me, I mean, since I was a kid, like, hey, does it ever upset you that you never met your dad? And I can honest to God say it never has. I was never sad I didn't know my dad. It never bothered me. I never, to this day, don't care to ever meet the guy. He's my sperm donor, is what I call him.
Nice.
You know, my mom was 16. He was probably 16, 17. So, you know, the guy knocked my mom up, fled. He did me a service, dude. He did me a solid. Because if that guy would have been in my life, I'd probably either be dead or in prison right now.
Let's talk about just growing up in general under the 90s backdrop, because again, This is the quintessential 90s. He's Mr. 1990s over here, even to this day. What do you think it was about the 90s? It just like in that culture, because even back then, I feel like you knew, like, I'm going to worship Pokemon and Mario for my entire life.
I did.
What is it about it that just draws you into it?
Man, I tell you, I'm a closet nerd. People like kind of look at me and they're like, I would never guess you're into that. And it's funny, man, because we were all into that in the 90s. And I just knew, man, I don't know if it's because we were kids then and we had so much fun, but I was like, this is a special time. In my opinion, it's the best decade ever. Like,
yeah.
Had the best times of my life as a kid. We were exposed to some of the greatest things to ever come out, from Pokemon to the video games that we got with the Nintendo 64 and the PlayStations, and wrestling was at its highest peak with the Attitude Era, and just everything was freaking awesome, man.
Yeah.
And I used to get made fun of all the time. Like, oh my God, you like Dragon Ball Z? I'm like, I like Dragon Ball Z. And now they're the ones that like it too, man.
Exactly. You're an innovator. I think that you were more of like my introduction to a lot of those things too. Like, you know, I don't really remember being super into Pokemon until you got really into it. I don't really even remember really being into wrestling until you got into it. So when I see something online that's wrestling related or 90s related, there's a group of people that come into my head. I'm like, I want to send that content to them. You are at the top of that list though. You know what I mean?
Hell yeah, man.
When did you get into wrestling?
So I remember the exact moment I got into it. I knew nothing about it. I never watched it. My grandpa bought a black box, which was like some illegal box that you hooked into your cable, and you could get all the pay-per-views and sex channels and all that good stuff.
Hell yeah.
So
that's why I was over at Brett's house every weekend.
Oh yeah, man. Long story short, I'm flipping through the black box one night and I see WWF WrestleMania 14, Kane versus The Undertaker. And I saw that and it was, I can't explain it, dude. I got locked in, and from that moment on, I was like, this is awesome. And
you're still into it these days. Yeah. I mean, even now, obviously, Raw is War. You know, all the storylines.
I do. And I'm a big fan,
even with your kids, it's something that you do with them too, huh?
Yeah, it's cool, man. I'm not going to say I'm a diehard fan because I went through a phase when I started like late middle school where I got heavily into skateboarding and ended up ending my baseball era and life with skateboarding. And I still liked wrestling. I would flip through the channels and look at it every now and then, but I didn't know the storylines. And then I got heavy into it again, probably in 2007 or 8. And I saw like Randy Orton and
that way.
I started keeping up with it, man. Nothing crazy. And even to this day, man, I don't watch Monday Night Raw every night. You know, it kind of sucks because I miss doing that, but now you can go on your phone and see clips of what happened. And
yeah, that appointment TV just isn't quite the same as it used to be. There's still stuff that's here and there, but you know, for the most part, we're watching it on our own time these days, which does lose a little bit of the luster overall. But
in my opinion, right now, wrestling is the best it's been since the Attitude Era. What they're doing is freaking working, and it's awesome, and I absolutely love it. My boys love it. I've taken both of them to Monday Night Raw. So I took Kai to the first Raw. Jax was too little, and we were on TV. So when the show started, you know, the cameras are panning around, and we were in the front row of the lower level, and you see me, and then you see my son Kai stand up saying, suck it. It's one of the greatest things.
I've never been more proud of my boy.
I was so proud, man.
That's amazing. When we would go to Raw, or any of these wrestling events, do you remember we would get dropped off?
Absolutely.
How old were we when we got dropped off? Because maybe I Mandela'd this. Were we not like 12 years old getting dropped off?
Dude, so we would find out it was the very first Raw or WWF event at the time, WWE now, that ever came to Atlanta.
And why? Do you know why?
I don't know.
Because of WCW being the competitor and being based in Atlanta, they really had a stronghold of this area. But as WWE, WWF started to take over and really started to kind of eat WCW as the competition,
that makes perfect sense.
They decided to get into it. So that was what, around 2000?
No, we went to our first one in 99.
99. Okay.
Yes.
So we got dropped off.
So I went on Ticketmaster and my aunt was like, find the tickets you want and you can use my credit card. So I found 2 tickets, which were fucking nosebleed because it was sold out.
Of course.
My mom would drop us off in front of the dome and she would say, hey, you stay here. I will be back at this spot to pick you up at 11 o'clock. 2 12-year-old kids, which was fucking awesome. I wouldn't do it with my kids, but
I mean, it was a different time.
It was a different time.
And we were good kids. We weren't going to get into any hoodlum stuff.
No, you earned that respect with your parents.
That's right. I was also very scared of my dad. So
I was too.
Well, there you go. Now, what was our quest though? Because you're going, it's exciting to be there. You can't afford any drinks.
Nope.
You don't even have any money on you.
We didn't have money.
We knew where our seats were. But that didn't really matter because what was our quest?
The quest was to get as close to the ring as you could.
That's absolutely right.
And we would sneak down, find some seats.
We'd find the security guard that was looking, that was overseeing the lower level. Who's going to be the sucker? Who's the guy that we can sneak past?
And it was easy back then.
Oh, so easy.
You can't do it now.
You could go and act like you don't know where your seat is, and then your buddy sneaks up behind you while you've got his attention. You know, we had all these plays. We had all these different methods of getting down there, and it worked. 9 times out of 10, it worked. And we didn't have seats down there, so we would just circle the perimeter. But man, to be that close.
Dude, one of the greatest moments of my childhood is when me and you were at the Rumble.
The Rumble.
And it was
2002 Royal Rumble.
Triple H made his big comeback, wins it. Right before he won, these 2 people left their seats.
Right before the main event.
It's
crazy. They walk right by us.
It was an older couple. They probably got free tickets, want to get home, beat the traffic. So I said, are you guys leaving? He's like, yeah. I was like, can we have your tickets? He's like, yeah, buddy. Me and you were front freaking row to watch Triple H win the 2002 Rumble. And when he came to that turnbuckle, it was like, awesome,
I could see every little sweat beating off of his body.
That was awesome.
That was cool, man. I think about that even now.
Those
are those memories, man.
That was probably the favorite one I've ever attended and seen.
Really?
Yeah.
Even though you were on TV with your kid doing
that was That was. I'm just talking about the event in general.
Yes, I know. That was a great event. It was a great. And we grew up in this time in the 90s where that violence was very it was very just right in the front of what we were experiencing at the time. Everything from wrestling is too violent to there's blood in this Mortal Kombat game, that censorship. We were crossing over into a new era of it. And it's like the little kids of our time were the guinea pigs. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man, we were.
If it didn't spook us out a little bit, it wasn't as exciting as it could be, right? So between Resident Evil, Goosebumps.
Playing Nightmare.
Okay, so let's describe Nightmare for the viewers at home.
Nightmare is a video board game where you have a board and it's set up like a cemetery and you play a video.
A VHS tape.
It's a VHS tape. It's an hour-long game and there's a guy on the video. He's called the Gatekeeper and he looks like this scary dude, You're playing the game. He's like telling you if you're banished to the black hole.
Banished!
As the game goes on, he goes from just being a creepy looking guy and he starts turning into this evil looking fucking zombie dude.
Looking a little bit diseased.
Yes.
Yeah.
And this was no CGI effects. This was just they put a guy in a room and said, hey, just can be an asshole. Scary.
We loved it.
It worked, man.
Just the beginning of your nightmare.
We were growing up in the time where being on your screen, video games, computers were becoming really prevalent at that time. You could start to see the shift of what we deal with now of really that screen syndrome that takes place now.
Yeah.
Being someone who loved exploring as a kid and now an adult who loves exploring with their kids, I would love to just kind of unpack how you love just being outside.
Yeah, absolutely, man. We grew up in the era where we could go outside all day and then you were expected to be back when the lights turned on the front porch. I, to this day, love the outdoors. If the weather's nice, I want to be out there making every minute count. If I'm working on something, playing with the kids. And I just loved exploring, man. I loved going, we used to go through the woods, and, the neighborhood I grew up in had a shit ton of woods behind it. And we would go and just have an adventure, man. And
we would literally say, let's go have an adventure.
That was it. On those adventures, we found, like, in my old neighborhood, there was an abandoned shack. That place was like our little secret oasis. It was an abandoned shack in the middle of acres of woods.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, I don't even know what it would house, because it was literally just a small, probably 100 square foot.
Yeah, easily. It was literally, it had to have been from like the Pilgrims or some shit.
Yeah,
like it was old.
Like, thinking through, like, I remember, again, this is when you get older, so much of the things that were so palpable to you when you were younger start to fade away, And I remember looking through little trinkets and things like that, but because they were dirty, I remember thinking, this is just junk.
Mm-hmm.
When in reality, we were probably looking at stuff that was probably 70 to 100 years old.
It was work to get to the shack, because we had to, in my old neighborhood, they had a section of it where it was just people custom built. So we would have to cut through these people's backyard.
That's right. We'd have to trespass
secretly.
Just a little bit of trespassing.
They didn't want us cutting through. So we would secretly, once we got past the threshold, then it was like another adventure getting to the shack. And I don't know if you remember, dude, but I always felt like I couldn't remember how to get to it. So it felt like a different path every time.
Yes.
And then you'd find it. It was like something magical, man.
It almost felt like it appeared for us.
That's why, I think that's why we went back there so much, because it was like the process of getting to it was so much fun.
Yeah, that was the adventure. It was like, you knew if you could find it, if you could get to it,
yes,
then, you've already had an adventure. And what did we do when we got there? Nothing,
dude. We just explored it. Like you said, they had like a bunch of mason jars. And I don't know if you remember this. I don't know if you were with me. I want to say you were, because 99% of the time I went back there was with you. This had been probably the 20th time we had looked at this place. And I remember I was looking at the back side of it, and I saw there was a hole in the wood, and I saw like a room. It looked like a small closet. Right. And I was like, bro, there's a fucking closet right here.
You were like, it's another room.
Yes. I don't remember how we opened it, because there wasn't a door. It was like it was closed off. I don't know if we pried the plywood off or what, but we opened it, and there was a small closet, and it had ears of corn sitting in like a little.
That's right.
Yes.
A bunch of corn.
Just ears of corn.
Yeah.
It was fucking wild.
That was it. That was the only thing in the room.
That was it. It was just ears of corn. There may have been a body. I don't remember, but.
Yeah, it could have. Forgot about that body in the corner.
Well, I remember we'd always go there and like, what secret's next? Like, there's something fucking hidden here.
It's the way it felt. It always felt like I'm going over to Brett's house for the adventure. Whether we were exploring in the woods, having some kind of wrestling match, impromptu, or
hell yeah,
playing Nightmare, Resident Evil, whatever the thing was. When I left on Sunday, felt like a different person than when I showed up on Friday.
Like literally, like you lived with me and I lived with you. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, we're spending night at each other's houses.
Even though we didn't even go to the same school.
We didn't go to the same school.
We would always plan it out at baseball practice or like spring break. You remember spring break? It was always, I'm over at your house for a few days. You're over at my house for a few days.
I'm pretty sure we spent time at each other's homes for at least a week straight, like sometimes, like during the summer. And that was back in the day, man. Like parents were cool with spending the nights. You knew the family well. You knew your kid's friend.
Yeah.
Good kids. Like, I feel like that doesn't exist anymore.
It's harder. Yeah. It's a different world.
It's funny. My son Kai, he just turned 8 and we had his party yesterday, and his little best friend from school, Liam, he's like, hey, can we set up a spend the night? And I'm like, he's 8 and he's never had a spend the night. And I'm like, I don't no, man, I don't know this dude's parents. Like,
yeah. How
they
do you
don't know
go into
us.
it?
I mean, I wouldn't care. It's just
Right.
like,
But then like, how do you navigate that?
I don't want another kid trashing my house, man. To be honest
now
with
you know how my dad felt.
Yeah.
This always tends to happen with us. We're real tight for a chapter. We go off on our own adventures for a period of time. We
Mhm.
come back. We're tight for a chapter. It kind of goes like that. We had very similar childhoods through different lenses.
I'm an only child. You were like my brother. Like I thought of you like my brother. I was like, this is my best friend. Fucking love this dude, love his family. All my spare time, I want to hang out with this guy and have adventures.
And we did, man.
Yeah, we
really
did, man.
This is the thing about us too. We never went to the same school.
Never.
To be as close as we are, having never gone to the same school.
I think that was a good thing, man.
I do too.
I feel like us not going to the same school, that time we had to hang out was fucking awesome.
And I also think this, I'm curious if you feel this way. You had your own school friends. You had a group of guys that you hung out with school.
Yeah.
I don't think I would have fit in that group, and I don't think you would have fit into my friend group.
Especially in the middle school, high school era.
Yeah. I think it would have been one of those things where we would have maybe had to have drawn lines, because that's the other thing. Brett's a real tough guy. And
I don't know about that.
I'm not a tough guy. Our friendship felt very unconventional in the fact that I was more of a scaredy cat that needed to get out of my shell. And you were the guy that was just balls to the wall all the time and maybe needed someone like me to help keep you reserved.
You fucking leveled me out, bro.
Yeah.
Like I needed that because I still am balls to the wall. I just love, being active.
Going for it.
I pick and choose what I do now. I'm not going to go jump down a flight of 10 stairs on a skateboard anymore, but it's cool to look back and say, hey, I did that.
Yeah.
And it was a major part of my life. And, I had a great time doing it. Now my oldest son, Kai, is getting into skateboarding and he's learning how to ollie right now. And it's cool as shit to see that, man.
That's cool, man. You get to take
and he knows, Pops can still get out there and shred around every now and then.
That's right. You still got some ups too.
It hurts. It hurts.
We reconnect in high school when you moved back.
Mm-hmm.
I was dating a girl that went to your high school.
That is right. That I forgot. I was thinking, like, when did we reconnect?
And we stayed pretty tight through the rest of high school. And then in 2007, we ended up working at the same place.
Yes.
At a restaurant in Kennesaw called Elevation Chop House and Sky Bar. I was a food runner.
Mm-hmm.
My bandmate / very good friend / now business manager, Colin, he was a food runner, server. Brett was a valet.
I was a valet and a bar back.
Cars and a bar back. That's right. You did the bar back thing as well. And then there was a whole group of hostess young women.
Oh, yeah.
One of them caught your eye.
Yeah.
Brett started dating this girl named Kolayna.
Mm-hmm.
And now Kolayna is your wife.
She's my wife, yeah.
That is where you met your wife.
She's still sticking around with me, man.
How many years later? We're at 18?
We say 08. We started officially started boyfriend, girlfriend, New Year's Day of 08. We had Michael Bowman, who's the owner, backstory, Michael Bowman dated my mom for many, many years. So I was very close to the guy. He called me up one day and he said, hey, bud, remember I told you when you were younger I was going to open a restaurant? I was like, yeah. He's like, I opened it. You want to come work here? And I was like, yeah, dude, I'll come work there. For the official opening day of the restaurant, he had all of his new employees meet up and, go over the employee handbook, all that stuff. I just remember seeing this chick walk up the stairs and I was like, holy shit, that girl is beautiful. And my buddy Drew was like, Boudreaux, you ain't got a shot in hell with that, bud. And I was like, all right, motherfucker, game on.
Bet.
So I'll never forget, we had been there for about a week and my buddy Drew was like, hey, let's invite all the employees over to the apartment. Let's have a party. Everybody get to know each other and have a good time.
This is before I joined. You were there.
This is before you joined. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Remember, I saw her standing up on the second floor looking down and I was just like, this is an opening. So I went up to her, I was like, hey, how's it going? Small talk. And I was like, hey, listen, we're having a party for all the employees. I'd love for you to come. And she was like, okay. I didn't think she was going to come.
Yeah. You're like, oh, that okay sounded very, I'm not going to go.
Yeah. So we're partying. We're having a good time. Probably been there for about an hour at the apartment. Everybody's taking shots, just, letting her hair down.
As you do.
Yeah, man. I hear a knock at the door. I go get it. It's her.
Wow.
And I'm like, hey, welcome. And man, I was trying so I play it cool. Like I was making all the girls rounded up, and I was making sex on the beach shots and trying to be Mr. Cool Guy, you know, and he just kind of stuck around me the whole night. And I was like, okay. And man, boom.
The rest is history.
Yeah, it took off.
You got married when you were 20?
22.
22.
Mm-hmm.
Or wait, you had just turned 23. That's right. We said you had just turned 23, right?
October. That is right. Because I got married, and then the very next week started my very first shift in the fire service.
Wow.
So I took a lot on quick.
That's incredible, man. That's actually exactly what I wanted to get into. So let's talk about your journey to become a firefighter. Because look, let's just for the camera, I'm going to do this in post. We don't have to do this now, but I want to zoom in on that fucking gun that you got right there. Look at this. Flex, look at that. Oh my goodness. How often do you work out these days?
I try to work out every day. Right now it's hard because we just moved into the new house. So I've got a lot of projects. I always work out when I'm on shift. Man, working out, I'm telling you, dude, it's a drug. It's my outlet to just let all my shit out. And I like to abuse my body with just doing crazy workouts. I strayed away from the old school clanging and banging, and I'm more into like, you know, CrossFit style circuit workouts, flipping tires, hitting tires.
Yeah. Manly shit.
Picking up 150-pound sandbags over my shoulder. And that's also good workouts for my job.
So for the record, you were not always a muscular guy.
Scrawny, man.
Scrawny as they come, dude.
They used to call me a scrawny midget, dude, back in the day.
I think that's another thing, because I was always in the 90th percentile in height. You know, I was always tall for my age. And the two of us together, it just felt very
funny, dude.
It just felt
like, what's up, dude?
We were that like 90s crew. I was a tall, nerdy type. You were the short, don't take shit from anyone type. Then you decided to get jacked. You became a firefighter.
Yeah.
You got that itch, that calling. You feel like that, the kid that you were, like in this timeline of who you are, becoming a firefighter feels natural.
It does, man. So we're working at Elevation, backtracking a little bit. I met Kolayna, I started dating her. And I was like, I want to marry this girl. I'm not going to marry this girl while I'm a valet bar back at Elevation. Yeah. I'm going to do it right. I'm going to marry her when I can take care of her. So she knew she wanted to be a dental hygienist. At the time, I had no clue what career path I wanted. No clue. So my mom came to Elevation to eat dinner. And one of her friends she was with was a Cobb County fireman. And she introduced me to him. And she was like, Brett, have you ever thought about trying to become a fireman? As soon as she said that, the light bulb went off in my head. And I was like, that's it.
Really?
And it was one of the hardest things just trying to get hired I've ever done. I applied at 20 different fire departments in the metro area. I even applied for Raleigh, North Carolina Fire Department. And it was so hard back then to get on because you had thousands of applicants each time. They don't just hire year round. You had to wait for the opening. So I was subscribed to a website that would send me alerts through email when somebody was about to opening up a hiring process.
Yeah.
As soon as they did, bro, I put my application in.
That's how bad you wanted it.
That's how bad I wanted it. It took me 2 years to get hired.
Wow.
We were sitting in class at EMT school one day, and this is about 2 years into it of trying to get hired somewhere.
Yeah.
People only hiring fucking 5 people at a time, thousands of applicants. My instructor was a retired fire captain for Dept. And he told us, he said, Dept's about to hire a huge class. If you guys all get your EMT, I will make sure you all, it was a small class and he liked all of us. He's like, I'll do my best to help you guys get a job there. So what happened was everybody in my class that applied, I think there was about 6 of them, got on with Dept. I also applied with Dept. But during my PT test, I went to grab a ladder. And when I went to put the ladder back on the rack, it barely scraped the ground. And they said, you're disqualified.
What?
I was like, disqualified? Like, yeah, ladder can't hit the ground. So I was freaking shattered.
No.
Ultimately, everybody in my class got hired. They got hired with the cab, had a start date. And I'm like, I started kind of second guessing myself. I'm like, is this meant for me, man? I'm giving 110% to get somewhere and I can't get hired.
Because you scraped a ladder.
Because I scraped a ladder on the ground. Whatever. It worked out for my best. City of Atlanta, the next week, sends me an email. Congratulations. Welcome to the City of Atlanta Fire Department. Bro, I was fucking ecstatic. And I was shocked because they send you a ranking list. Or like, out of 210 applicants, you ranked number 3 on the list.
Wow.
And it's because I had been doing studying from a retired FDNY chief. He wrote a book on how to pass a firefighter interview. And I read that book front to back, and I did everything that book said, and it worked out. And
changed your life, huh?
I went to Atlanta, and everybody else went to the cab.
Yeah.
That class, I got hired in the cab. They fired every one of them. The last day of recruit school, about to get their assignments, they said, we got to let you guys go.
What happened?
Some kind of budget issue, man.
Oh, man.
They all came to Atlanta. And I was already there. And I'm like,
already there. How many years were you with Atlanta?
I was with the City of Atlanta for 5 years.
5 years. And you got married right at the beginning of that.
Correct. I got married. My very first shift was a week later. And I'll never forget, finished rookie school. And the chief at the time of training, I left rookie school and he called me and I was like, oh no. Why is the chief calling me? It's like, Brett, got a question for you. If you could go to any house in the city, where would you go? And all you ever heard was stories of Station 16 in the Bluff. I said, well, sir, I'd love to go to 16 and get some experience. He said, you got it, son. 16A shift. You start this day.
Wow.
And I got to go to the busiest firehouse in the city. I was introduced to a whole new culture of the lifestyle in that city, or that little part of the city, of trying to become a good fireman and learn. The fire department, I've been in it today, marks 14 years I've been in the fire service. Guys I have worked with, man, have taught me how to become a man. Got to have thick skin, man. Got to work hard, got to lead by example. And, you got to be professional, but you also got to be disciplined. And I lacked discipline early in my career. I was what they like to call cowboy. Go off and do my own thing, because that's how the culture was in the City of Atlanta. Like, get in there, get some, go to work, baby. Cobb taught me discipline, which I'm very thankful for.
How long have you been at Cobb now?
I've been with Cobb for 7 years now.
7 years at Cobb.
Mm-hmm. And I did a quick stint. I left Atlanta and I did a little quick stint for a couple of years at Paulding. And then I always want to be with Cobb. Cobb or Marietta were my top 2 fire departments.
And why was that?
Cobb was just known for being the place, man. Just like jam up fire department. I grew up in Cobb County. City of Marietta was the same. Grew up in Marietta. I said, one of these two is going to be, I'm going to be with one of these two one day. This is a long career. I'm going to make the best of it. Cobb, man, they were doing a lateral class, which they were hiring experienced guys for an 8-week program. Got in and absolutely love it, man.
Yeah. You got in right as you were becoming a dad, too.
That is correct, yeah.
So we'll talk about that in a minute. But before we do, here's a word from our sponsor. No, I'm just kidding. We don't have sponsors. Yeah. How did you arrive at the place that you said, I want to be a dad. I want to build a family. Also, just knowing what you had to process, saying I want to build a family, but not knowing necessarily how to do it.
Well, I took this very serious. When we were dating, I wanted to date at least 4 years. Like, I just gave a number, like 4. Let's get to know each other before we make that commitment. And when we decided to get married, I said, I want to be married for at least 5 years just to get to know each other, spend time together,
travel,
focus on our careers. She had just become a dental hygienist. I just become a fireman. We never traveled a lot or anything. We'd go to Florida or something, but just trying to build a foundation with us. You
both were very committed to your careers.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I mean, obviously it takes a lot to become a dental hygienist. Mm-hmm. It takes a lot to become a firefighter. And, you were also building a little side hustle as well, with cutting yards. And it's like, I remember you talking a lot about how, there's just something nice about coming home. You've got a wife, you have a beer at the end of a work day, and that's it.
Good old Jim Beam, baby. Good old Jim Beam. So we got married. We were young. I was 23. She was 22. And we were still kids, dude. Like, just still learning and loving to just hang out with each other and have a good time. And we first got married. We had a little bump in the road. I won't get too deep into it, but it had to do with religion. And we actually separated for a couple months. And that was probably one of the darkest times of my life, because I just didn't want to lose my best friend. And I didn't want religion to split us apart, which, looking back now, any advice to anybody, about to get married, like, make sure your religious beliefs are on the same page and having kids. So ultimately, I thank God every day we worked through that. And I'm a huge believer everything happens for a reason. I truly believe that with all my heart. And we were meant to go through that little separation, because it helped us both kind of learn some things about each other, and coming back into it, how we're gonna live our lives, as a unit.
Yeah.
So went through that spout, got back, started rebuilding our relationship. We 5 or 6 years just being married, bought our first home, lived in an apartment, then bought our first home, and just building, man, having a good time. And I always knew she wanted kids. I never thought about kids. It didn't cross my mind. I really could have cared less. Because I was just like, I don't know if I'd be a good father, man. With my type of work that I do, my schedule. And I look back and I never really had a true father type. I had guys in my life. My grandfather was like a father. Joe McKenzie was like a father. My Uncle Travis was like a father. I was very blessed to have men in my life that ultimately took me in and treated me like their own son.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of wanted to say, okay, well, she wants kids. I'm not going to take that away from her. I wasn't against it. I just wasn't sure, which you never are. So I said, okay, well, let's have a kid. One shot, boom, got her pregnant. And my first son was born. And, we started that whole chapter, which I'm still learning today, my strengths and my weaknesses of being a father and a husband. It's always going to be a battle. And no one has it perfect. There's no relationship that's perfect. We all have our demons. We all have our issues. It's how you communicate with each other. That's the wife, the husband, or the kids. And you keep building off of your mistakes. My patience sucks. And I've let my patience make me an ass for my kids sometimes. And I don't want to keep doing that. I want my kids to have a good relationship with me. And you got to learn from your negativities and try not to expose them to others, because you're pissed off.
We've talked about this a couple of times. If the goal is for our kids to be better than us,
absolutely,
we can see how can I set up my life to be as easy for them to feel what they need to feel without me getting in the way, my anger, my stress, my fill in the blank, right? I feel like I'm still learning that, and I will always be learning that. But that's the difference. We talk about this, about how when you have kids, your old life is over. And I don't look at that in a way as a sad thing or even like a dramatic thing. It's that you feel love on a different level, and you really truly understand what it's like to be able to give all of yourself to something that has real tangible results, that then they go and live their life. If I don't like this part of me, of my patience wearing thin, or, just the way I handle stressful situations in general, if I don't like this part of me, is my kid going to change that? Or am I going to change that? It ultimately is going to fall on us to learn, to identify how to do that. And it's all through the prism of caring for a child and then knowing that they're going to grow up to be like you. Because here's the thing. Your son is now the age that you were when we met.
Yep.
And when I see your son, I see Brett Boudreaux at 7 years old. This kid looks just like his dad.
It's crazy, man.
You produced a clone of you.
He's definitely my son, that's for sure.
You have a really special relationship with him, huh?
I do, yeah.
Yeah, both your kids, obviously Kai and Jax.
Kai and Jax,
Kai's a little bit older, and he's been attached to your hip pretty much from the jump. I can say that to be the case. And every time I see Brett in public. We live in the same town, so I see you in public randomly. And every time I do see you, Kai's right next to you.
He's right there, man.
What are the things that you love about being a dad?
Dude, I'm telling you, it's like you said, it's a journey. You know, in my line of work, we're sleep deprived a lot. You know, we're running calls, we're training, we're pushing our bodies to the limit. So I'll catch myself multiple times just being in a shitty mood. And that's where I kind of started sometimes taking my shit out on my kids, or just being an ass. And, you know, that's something that I reflected on, and I pray to God every day to help me to control it and just say, hey, don't be a fucking dickhead to your son because he's being loud right now because you're sleep deprived and tired in a shitty mood. So, you know, my oldest son is 8, my youngest is 4, he's about to be 5, and they're kids, man. They're loud. They beat each other up. They wrestle. They fucking don't listen to you. I'm like, they're fucking kids. Let them, I want them to look back and be like, my dad was fucking awesome growing up, you know, and they both have their own personalities, which I love. You know, Kai's more like me and Jax is more like his mom. And that's awesome, man.
Yeah.
But just being a dad, man, it's a work in progress, and it continues to be a work in progress, and I'm still going to fuck up, and I'm still going to make mistakes. And I'm just trying to be better each day. And hey, man, we all live vicariously through our kids. Like me and my sons hanging out, playing, you know, whatever we're doing. I'm like, it reminds me of when I was a kid, when we were kids, and it's fun, man.
You're in a constant state of reflection.
Yeah.
Just because of the world that you live in. We were talking before this, Maisie has all of my old stuffed animals from when I was a kid. And so now when we play, I'm holding up my old stuffed Donatello and being like, okay, let's go have a tea party.
Yeah,
you
man.
know, it's like, it's a different context, but hey, you're still here, man. It's cool.
That's freaking awesome, man.
You know, to live in that world, to give yourself opportunities to just be a kid. If you could go back in time and tell your 13-year-old self that that's what you'd be doing at 37.
Yeah, no way.
He'd be so excited. He would be so stoked.
I'm just happy to still be alive, man.
Yeah, I know. But here we are. I'll say this about Kai. And I told myself I was going to share this story because I think this is such a testament to who you are as a dad. So Brett, we had this really cool thing happen to us back about 10 years ago. My dad owned my childhood home for even after my parents' divorce, and he rented it out. And his renters were leaving, and he asked if I wanted to rent that space. So I got to spend a summer renovating my childhood home that I hadn't set foot in since my parents divorced when I was 13 years old. And we got to bring it back to life and live in it for a year and a half before we bought this house that we live in now. During that time, Brett was working at the fire department and cutting yards on the side. That's your side hustle. And I asked him if he wanted to cut my grass. And so he got to come over and cut my grass. And so for a year and a half, we got to kind of relive some of those memories that were taking place in the wrestling ring in the backyard, the tree house in the backyard, all of those things. And then when we bought this house, Brett was also cutting our grass. He no longer cuts our grass. He's now doing really cool fire work, and he didn't have time for guys like me. So we had to go and find some other company. I remember taking this photo of you, and you were on one side of the yard in your incredible 0-turn mower that you just look like a fucking king on. on top of your throne. And then on the other side of the yard is Kai cutting with a Fisher Price mower, going up and down.
Yeah, man. I love both my kids, and obviously right now I have a special bond with Kai, he's our firstborn, and Jax can be an asshole sometimes, but I love Jaxie Pad so much. He brings his own stuff to the table, and
you call him Jaxie Pad?
I call him Jaxie Pad.
Oh my God.
Everybody hates it. My wife hates it.
My younger brother's name is Maxwell, and we called him Max or Maxie when he was younger. And Brett would call him Maxie Pad. That was his nickname for Max. So to call your son Jaxie Pad, man,
Max, if you're watching, if that offended you, buddy, I'm sorry.
That's okay, man. He's got thick skin because of you. It's all good.
He's a good kid, man.
Yeah. So you and Kai, Kai's into what?
Kai is into, and this is my fault, and I never pressed this on him. I just introduced him to all of this to see how he would respond. Kai tells me every day, Daddy, I wish I was a 90s kid. He's like, I wish I grew up in the era that you grew up in. And I'm like, well, then I wouldn't get to be your dad. And he's like, but I think we would have been friends.
Oh, you would have been friends.
Yeah, we would have been friends. But this kid, if you go into his room, it looks like you just walked into our room back in 1995. We will go to the antique stores. He loves Goosebumps. He loves Pokemon. He loves wrestling. He loves Dragon Ball Z. All this shit that I loved and do still love today, the kid loves it. I even reached a point, actually it was a couple weeks ago, I pulled him aside and said, hey, you don't have to like this stuff just because I do, buddy. Don't ever feel like you have to. I want you to like it if you like it. He's like, no, Daddy, I love all this shit. I wish I was a 90s kid. He's trying to grow his hair out to do the 90s style.
Yeah, what, like a bowl cut or a shag?
Yeah, you know, like the, not the bowl cut, but kind of slick it back.
Yeah, like, that's cool, man.
Like what we had.
Yeah.
But
he's into baseball.
He plays baseball. We play at Oregon Park. He's in 8U right now. And
what's his team name? How do they do it now?
Same way. Right now, he's on the Tampa Bay Rays.
Nice.
Yeah, we actually have a game tonight. So
nice. Are you a coach?
I help coach. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not a head coach. I help. Like tonight, I'll probably be coaching third base because our head coach is out of town.
You feel like that's good for your speed?
Yeah, no, I love coaching third base, dude. I'm very aggressive, and watching the kids respond when I'm telling them to stop, when I'm telling them, hey, stop, go back, or come on.
Yeah. And
just seeing them hustle and hitting it hard, man, it's fun, dude. And
how do you like being a baseball dad in general compared to being a player to now being on that side and seeing the way parents are?
It's fun, man. I just look at his team and it just brings back the memories of us playing and like your dad coaching and Joe McKenzie coaching and Greg Hyatt, all those guys, and how much fun we had. And I just remember like our teams were always disciplined. Like we had some kids on our teams that were just studs, man.
Yeah.
Like we were very good.
Is it that way now?
Some of them are. You got your kids that get it, and you have a couple kids that are struggling and may not be as into it as others, but we have a really good team this season, man. These kids are awesome.
Yeah.
And I started teaching Kai early with baseball, and it takes a while for it to click, but once it clicks, man, it's so awesome to like see this kid catching pop flies, making plays at second base.
Just with the fluidity.
Yeah, his hitting, like, he's got a great swing, man. He's a lefty.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he's got like a Freddie Freeman style like swing. And
that's so cool.
And man, when the kid, man, one thing I love about him is he's got such a great attitude. He's always like disciplined. He's always listening. Jax is playing. He just started T-ball, so he's kind of going through that T-ball phase.
Yeah.
And doesn't really give a fuck. But if he wants to play, okay. We'll get him there.
Yeah,
He's going to start wrestling this summer. They're going to go to wrestling camp.
Amazing.
So I'm pretty stoked about that.
Yeah, that's incredible.
Yeah.
Maisie just started soccer.
Hell yeah. Oh, I saw that.
Yeah, she had her first game on Saturday. Could not care less. Here's the thing about soccer. What I realized when we're doing practice, she likes doing practice because she has her own ball. She gets her turn, right? There are a couple of kids on her team that they love it. And they're going to fight for that ball. And Maisie's not interested enough to want to fight a kid for a ball. So she's just kind of hanging out on the field. But we're setting those boundaries to be like, hey, we're on the sidelines. We're cheering you on, but you cannot come over to us.
Yes.
We are not going to go out onto the field.
Yeah.
I've told Chelsea I'm not going to be a coach. You can hold me to it. What camera are we on here? This camera right here. I'm not going to be a coach. I do not want to coach.
He's going to coach. I promise you.
I probably will coach.
You will end up helping coach at some point.
They will rope me in at some point. They're like, no, this guy looks too much like a basketball player to not want to help out with this sport. I know nothing about basketball. So to see how you've adapted to fatherhood without having that North Star and going into it with that bravery, I commend you, man. There's a lot to be said about how we go into fatherhood, how we go into parenthood. Do you remember those feelings as you were getting into it, as you were going into that leap?
Dude, I was scared shitless. I just remember, when she gave birth, we were in there, and I just remember the nurses started freaking out because something happened, and I could tell, something wasn't right. So, I started getting nervous, a little bit of anxiety kicking in. I'm like, what the is going on? Is she okay? Is the baby okay? And ultimately, thank God, everything was fine. They fixed the issue, but it's just like any other man is a father or going to become a father. You don't know.
Yeah.
It's a whole different era of your life that's about to start, where you got to be less selfish and start, making sure that your kids are being raised to be good human beings. Yeah. And I'm not a fan, and this is no disrespect to anybody that does this, of our kids come first. I've always told my wife, and I even sat my boys down and said, your mother comes first in my life. If you ever disrespect her, you're going to have a problem. So my kids are very important, and I'm going to do everything I can to prepare them for life to be good, solid, hardworking, humble human beings. At some point, they're going to have to take on that path themselves, because I can't hold their hand their whole life. All I can do is give them a foundation, and I'm going to fuck up along the way to this day. But if I can continue to learn from my mistakes, make some changes, tweak things, and just know that I gave them everything I could to set them up for success, at the end of the day, I'll be able to sleep at night.
Yeah, it's funny you talk about that because, one of the biggest blessings of having such a close relationship with my dad into my adulthood is understanding that he's just a human being.
Right.
He does make mistakes.
Right.
I think that when we grew up, at least I felt this way with my dad. I don't know if you felt this way with your granddad, but it was like they built themselves up and society built them up, and we were built up to feel like our parents were larger than life and that they didn't make mistakes and that they were flawless. And it's only later that you realize that they were just doing the best with what they had in front of them.
Absolutely.
Your mom was 16 when you were born. You had the childhood that you had. It's not that it was good or bad. It just was the childhood.
Yeah.
You made the most of it. It was the way that you responded to it that created that, So as we go through life and learning how to respond to things and how to, like we said, we want our kids to be better than us. I think it is such a beautiful thing that you show your kids that you are a flawed person.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you feel like that's something that you think about consciously, or do you think that it's like you pick and choose when to peel back the curtain?
Man, like I said, it's all been day by day. I make it a point every morning by myself to pray and just ask God, give me the strength to get through this day, to work hard, to be a good human, and to just lead by example. And it always doesn't happen. I am far from perfect. I never will be perfect. Like I said, I fuck up every single day in some way, shape, or form. But I try my hardest to make my boys look at me and say, hey, I respect my dad. And let them know that I am their father first and foremost, but I am also their friend. I've never been a fan of the term, I'm not your friend, I'm your father. I am your father first, but I am going to be your friend. I'm going to hang out with you guys. I'm going to play baseball with you. I'm going to do whatever,
video games,
anything. Yeah, we're going to have a good time. I want them, my wife said something the other night, man. The kids were just wild. They were just going buck wild, and I was tired. I was ready to settle down, and I'm like, why are they so fucking hyper? And she goes, that's a sign that they're happy. And I said, fuck, man, that's a good point. The fact that they're just having a good time, rather than being annoying, whatever, they're fucking happy kids, they're playing. And that kind of, when she said that, that kind of stuck with me. And I try my best to control my patience, control my anger, and understand that they're just little kids having a good time. Now, I'm still going to do my best to teach them good morals and values.
You have to do that.
You have to.
Yeah.
Don't go fucking beating up the next door neighbor, Billy, because you want to go fight somebody. But have fun, play, be respectful, to adults, be respectful to everyone around you. That's why I try to tell them, like, don't be an ass. Don't be a douchebag. Be cool. Be humble. Work hard. Like with baseball. I said, you know what your coaches want to see? They want to see who the hardest worker out there is. They want to see who's listening, who's putting in the extra time. And I said, if you do that, because Kai always wants to play second base. And he was getting put in the outfield a lot. I said, if you want to play second base, you need to go up to your coach and say, hey, coach, can I get a shot at second base and prove myself? And he did. And he's made some great plays at second. And, he doesn't play second all the time. They swap it around. But when he's there, he proves something, know, and
he's got that chip on his shoulder.
Yeah. And I'm trying to teach Jax the same thing. And whatever Jack's sport that he gets into or whatever, once I see that he loves it, I told Kai, I said, I will practice baseball with you anytime that I can, but you have to come to me. I'm not going to come to you and say, hey, boy, let's go hit off the tee. You have to come to me and say, Daddy, can we practice? The new neighborhood, there's 2 kids that live next door, and they all became best friends like that. So they go, Kai and Jax. Yeah, they go have a blast with those kids. They play in the woods, go down by the creek.
And their own shack.
Yeah. Where before I was the friend because there was no kids in my old neighborhood. Yeah. So I felt obligated to do everything with them, which I don't mind. I love hanging out with them. But it's nice to see that they have friends their own age and go explore the woods and ride bikes. And, it's nice. But he knows that if we're just hanging out, hey, Dad, can we practice? Yeah, come on, go get your glove. Let's go.
That's awesome, man. I think about this a lot with you especially. My job, I work from home.
Mm-hmm.
I travel for work. I'm sometimes in places that are, not the nicest in the world, but for the most part, my job is very safe, very cush. Every time you walk out the door, you got a thing in the back of your mind that you got to push out saying, I might not come home from this shift.
Yeah.
I mean, you were just talking upstairs about how you were cutting out a roof of a building that was on fire. You're pulling things out that no person should have to see. How does that resonate with you in fatherhood, having a job for what you do? And if you could, let's talk about what it is that you do now. What station are you at?
Okay.
I want the people to know how badass this dude is before he jumps into
say all
this.
First off, I am only the fireman I have become today because of my mentors. From the city of Atlanta to where I'm at now, I have been so blessed to be able to work with some amazing people that took me under their wing, that taught me, even when I wasn't disciplined. They saw something in me one of my mentors, Logan Dean, man, we worked in Atlanta together. We worked in Cobb together. He's been in the fire service for over 20 years. He pulled me aside. He's like, hey, you lack discipline. You need to learn discipline. And then my another buddy, Kyle Williams, been with Cobb for over 20 years. He pulled me aside one day. He said, Brett, you are an awesome fireman, but I challenge you to become a professional fireman. And just those along, having people like that in my life that I've had the honor to work with is shaping me to where I'm at now. And I'm still growing. I'm going to keep growing to the day I retire. But those two comments specifically lit a fire under my ass to say, hey, what's the next chapter in the fire service? I'm just a fireman right now. What do I want to do? Do I want to promote? And I've always had an interest in the squad, also known as our technical rescue team, which is very, very hard classes. You've got a lot of disciplines you have to learn, technical rescue stuff. So I challenged myself. I'm going to get a spot on the squad one day, and I'm not going to quit till I get one. And the stars aligned, man. Right now I'm at Station 16 on Squad 16, and I have the best crew in the county. From my captain down to us firemen, we have such a strong bond, and we've done some pretty cool shit together, man. And I love it. Absolutely love it. It's a whole different outlook on the fire service. We have multiple disciplines that we have to know, and I feel like it's just made me overall a better fireman. And, you just feel a sense of accomplishment, man. And when I go to work every third day, I have to hit that switch in my head saying, you're a fireman today, man. You got it. These guys depend on you. And I try my best to lead by example, man. And those guys need to know that I got their backs, and I need to know that they have my back, because I know they got families to go home to, and we have a blast, man. We train our asses off. We freaking work out together. We eat together. We laugh. I've never laughed so hard at the firehouse, man. You ain't laughing, you ain't having a good time.
Yeah.
But, you got to hit that switch. And of course, Kolayna knows that if something is going down, to call me. And if I can answer, I will. But she's been freaking phenomenal about not bothering me when I'm at work, man.
Really?
She knows she gets it.
Yeah, she knows that you have to, shut that off?
She just knows that I'm going to be busy with training, with running calls, and not to bother me with minute stuff. Like, she knows that I'm very dedicated to that for that 24 hours. And she's always supported me in being a fireman. And you have to have that in this line of work, man. You got to have a spouse that understands it and supports it. And I've been blessed to have her. But when you get off shift, you got to click the other switch, say, okay, now you're a husband and a father. Now you got to go home and play that role. So it's hard, man. It's hard, but I try my best to control it. I try my best to not bring home the shit that I see. If I have a cool story about when I cut that hole in that house fire and I have it on video, I'm like, hey, check this out. And my boys are always like, Daddy, did you go to a badass fire last night? And I'm like, yeah, even if we didn't. Like,
yeah, you gotta tell them you did.
Yeah.
Of course you did.
Yeah, we ran 10 calls after midnight. Really, we slept all night that night.
Yeah, had a nice meal.
Yeah, but we're busy, man. We have a good time. This is the happiest I've been in my career so far.
Isn't that a blessing?
It is a blessing, man. Just being in the spot that I'm in right now, having the crew that I have, and those guys, we build off of each other, dude.
Yeah.
We absolutely build. Everybody brings something to the table. There is no weak link.
Yeah, that's got to feel nice, huh?
It does feel nice.
And is that all just based on all of you guys having to go through that same process to get to that point?
Absolutely.
Man, that's really cool.
Taking these classes, we call them disciplines, taking these disciplines, and we do anything from, firefighting to rope rescue, structural collapse, confined space, swift water rescue. Like, that's our specialty. So anytime a call goes out that is related to any of that, we specialize, and that's what we go to.
Wow.
So they could be on a swift water call right now, and that's Squad 16 and Squad 7 are North Squad, South Squad.
Nice.
And they're all just filled with just some jam up dudes that love the job. And yeah, it's awesome, man.
Yeah. Shout out Station 16, Squad 16.
Yeah. The Devil's Triangle, baby.
What do you love most about being a dad?
Watching them grow up, man. Just when they're happy and having a good time, I'm like, all right, we're doing something right. Watching them learn. I'm building my shed right now, and they're getting the extra pieces of lumber and like, hey, Daddy, we're gonna build some over here, and they're over there with fucking nails and a hammer, and they're making a little fucking area to hang out in, and seeing stuff like that, man. Yeah. Unfortunately, we live in an era now where the screens have just taken over, and I'm guilty too, man. Like, I don't care if my kids watch the iPad at night for an hour before bed, but my goal is they are not going to be exposed to that all day. And Jax especially, if he could watch iPad all day, I'm gonna watch iPad all day.
Really?
And I was like, no, you are going to be a kid. You are going to enjoy the outdoors. You're going to enjoy sports, playing with friends. I don't care what you do. I absolutely hate soccer. I have prayed that my kids don't want to play soccer. I hate it. But Jax, the kid's good at kicking a ball around, man. Just like Maisie is. Like,
hey.
So if he says, I want to play soccer, we'll play soccer, man.
All right.
I'm good with
Maybe
it.
I can convert you into a kicker for the
yeah.
football.
But yeah, just watching them grow, man, and just knowing that I have such an impact on them really means a lot to me. It means
knowing that you matter.
Exactly. Knowing that they love spending time with both Kolayna and I, but like, she's at work and I'm with them for the day. Just like, all right, boys, hey, we're going to go to the antique store. We'll go look for some cool shit. And then we'll go.
And they're like, yeah, antiques.
Yeah, they love it. Jax told Kolayna the other night, he's like, Daddy buys me more toys. You don't ever buy me toys. And she was like,
not understanding that literally everything he gets is from her.
Man, when I was a kid, I was spoiled in a good way. I wasn't like a spoiled, rotten little asshole. Like, my grandparents, when they moved here and got their jobs, they were doing pretty well financially. And they knew that they were working all the time and they didn't have that time to commit to me as much as they'd like to, which I understood, man.
Yeah.
But dude, my grandpa would take me to Blockbuster every Friday night, let me rent wrestling videos.
That's right.
Man, they would take me to KB Toys at the mall or Toys R Us and let me get wrestling figures and Pokemon cards.
But let me interject here because you are a true innovator in this world too. I've never met anyone that cared for their toys as much as you did.
Yeah.
I'm talking like your room, your toy chest. It was immaculate. Everything was freshly vacuumed every time we walked in. And you had that rug that had you put the toy cars on there and stuff. But it always looked so pristine. And I'm sure that's carried over into now. But like, you cared for those toys. And I think maybe it was, I don't know, would you say it was because deep down you knew like this is a privilege?
Yeah, I did, man. So, being raised by my grandparents, they were and my whole family is very OCD, clean freaks. Like, you remember my grandpa would stripe the carpet and we'd have to jump over the lines.
That's right.
Always in a very clean home. And that got instilled into me. So like my wife, Kolayna, she had to kind of get used to that when we got together because she grew up in a family of like 7 people and their house wasn't nasty. It was just a wreck.
I mean, it's hard to keep 7 kids or, 7 people in a house together. Yeah, I can understand that.
So, she saw that and, right now our house is a wreck because we're still moving in. But, if I see dishes in the sink, I need to pick the dishes up and not let them sit there. And I want my house to be that. We have a dog. I don't want dog hair all over the place. I want our home. It's our we work so hard to live in this home that I want to keep it as clean and nice and take care of it as possibly can. Same with my vehicles.
Yeah.
My truck is over 20 years old and it looks brand new. Like,
yeah, I wouldn't think it was that old.
I've always known like I am blessed enough to have this stuff. I'm going to take care of this stuff. And I was the same way with all my toys.
Yeah.
And I always knew deep down, man, like with Pokemon cards especially, I was like, this is going to be worth something one day.
You did. You used to say that about everything.
I just knew it, man. I'm like, no, it's not. It's junk. That won't even be a thing when you're an adult.
Right.
Look at it now, dude. Holy cow.
If you could go back in time, talk to your childhood self, go back and talk to that kid and say, this is what you have in store for you. You're going to go through this era. You're going to be a skateboard kid. You're going to do it. What would you say to that kid?
Dude, I'd honestly just be like, hey, like, dial it back a notch and enjoy every fucking second you have. Like, don't make life such a rush where you're an adult. Enjoy every second you have. And don't steal a DVD from Walmart. And don't go to Whitewater parking lot and skateboard and get arrested for criminal trespassing. So
those two
things for sure, take them out.
Let's take those two events out.
And I would have told them to build your confidence a little bit. Because there was times I was in some situations where some kids were trying to punk me out. And I bitched out, man. I bitched out. And I don't know why. And I think about it all the time.
Really?
And if I could go back to one incident where this kid grabbed me by my throat and threw me against the wall, it was just a bully, just being a fucking asshole. And I didn't do anything. If I go back, I would have that motherfucker and just beat the shit out of him. But I was like, I was scared, man.
Yeah, it's weird when you get into that fight or flight moment, but it teaches you something, right?
It does.
Everything that we go through in life, it's the stuff that we get taught. And I always like to end on that question just because I think that who we are as dads is a reflection of who we were as kids, and so much of this journey is just about reflecting and getting to do it a whole new way, with a whole new set of rules and structures, and the world works differently and all that.
Yeah.
But you're a good dad. You're a really good dad.
Likewise.
And thank you, man.
Yeah,
thank
likewise.
you. And, we could obviously talk more and more. We can talk for 2 or 3 more episodes, but we'll cut it here and we'll look forward to part 2. Y'all can talk in the comments if you want Brett on for part 2. There's a lot more to get to.
Hey, director's cut, dude.
That's it, man. All right. Love you, bro.
Love you too.
Yeah, man. Thanks